So far, this theory solves the easier parts of Golden Freddy.
Have we solved something? We did it, boys! Yeah, well done. Hey guys, and welcome to GT Not Live, where today we're back to finally solve Golden Freddy, but probably more importantly, to figure out what Rytoast's theory actually is.
We'll get to the solving part,
yeah.
But, you know, we'll let them cook for a minute.
Right, like, the big question on our mind today isn't so much who are the spirits inside of Golden Freddy. The big question is, what are Rytoast's opinions about who is inside Golden Freddy?
We have to know.
Yeah, last time we were joined behind the scenes by ID's Fantasy.
Hello.
Who came in to do what she does best, which is theorize about Five Nights at Freddy's and react to a fellow theorist on the platform, Rytoast, who has done many incredible theories, who's been a friend of this channel for a while, but we've never actually reacted to any of his theories, so it's cool to finally have a chance to do that. However, it took us a long time to get to his theory, to be quite frank.
Yes.
You know, we
took a bit, but we got there eventually.
Did we get there? I don't think we got there.
We're getting there eventually.
No, in true GT Live fashion, you know, we're going step by step. The lead's a little bit buried, but you know, we're trucking.
We
right?
haven't quite gotten to the theory itself yet,
We took
but
some
we
pit
will
stops.
eventually.
Yes, exactly.
We stopped at the Sheets. Got a breakfast sandwich on the way.
I picked up some cheese bites. Those were great.
30 minutes later, I had to like take a bathroom break. I'm like, oh, I should have gone to the Sheets, but I didn't go, so we got to pull off again.
Yep.
At that point, then it's lunch. You gotta go through the drive-thru again. You're hungry.
And that was a long, long line. I don't even know. The person in front of us got like 10 sandwiches at least.
Isn't it always the case when you're like in a hurry, and then inexplicably there's just someone who takes an incredibly long amount of time at the drive-thru, and you're like, this is not rocket science, sir.
I know. It's like we're looking at the car in front of you, and you know it's bad when they pull out the plastic bag with the paper bags in it, and they had that, and it's like, no.
That's like part 1 of 3 for this order.
They have a drink carrier.
No, that person got like 10 single hamburgers, and all of them were special order.
And then they have to get them all situated in the seat next to them or in the back, and
Yeah, and then it's also one of those people who like feels obliged to like double check that everything was right. And so they're like, no, and then it's like, nope, one of the 10 things was wrong. So we're holding up the entire line.
Yeah, you forgot pickles on my burger.
And all I wanted was a 5-piece nugget. It was supposed to be an easy in and out. Maybe with the occasional Diet Coke, and yet here we are 20 minutes later, and the fast food is not so fast.
No, this was mild to moderate food in terms of speed, you know? I mean, I should have said slow, but mild to moderate came to mind first.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, that is us. That is this. That is this vibe happening on GT Live, and specifically with Rytoast's theory. So, we have talked about Golden Freddy a wee bit, and that's where we're at.
A touch.
Right?
Even.
I'm not wrong in interpreting how last episode went.
Golden Freddy exists, maybe connected to some things.
What?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Connected?
Right.
Whoa.
We talked about Remnant.
Remnant?
We talked about Agony.
Yeah. Gotta love those emotions.
Yeah, Remnant,
The painful
Agony.
ones
Yeah,
specifically.
I like it. It's like the Kool-Aid man. Agony. Oh, yeah.
Hey, you're the one who established the agony deep voice.
Oh,
so.
yeah. No, I like it. I like that.
But might as well stick to it, right?
That's your new catchphrase. Can that be your catchphrase?
Ash has remnant, I have agony.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Anytime Agony gets said, you have to do that. That's incredible.
We're gonna take that that sound clip from now on, and every single time that Agony is said on this channel, you're gonna hear a
Just press a button, soundboard.
Right? Oh, yeah, soundboard. Yeah.
Wasn't there, do y'all remember the Staples button?
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah, that was easy.
Yeah.
Instead of that, it's yeah.
I've always said that we need more buttons to represent our catchphrases.
So true.
Like, that's just a theory button. We could add in the
so
lore, music. Man, we could have like the Five Nights at Freddy's like special edition buttons.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, we should reach out to that company that makes the pet buttons so that the dogs can talk to you.
What?
Do y'all not know about this?
Sorry, hold up. I like that. We're on the same wavelength here. Excuse me, what?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna change y'all's life. So,
Okay.
there is this dog on the internet. Her name is Bunny, right? She was huge like 4 years ago.
That's ironic.
Right? It's very fun.
Yes.
Very clever. So they had this whole map of buttons for Bunny, right? And she would go and she would just like hit a button with her paw and it would be like, food, now. And that's is like the question button.
Yeah.
Where it's like she's kind of asking for like the food at that time.
Did she know how to use the buttons appropriately, or was it just written? Are you sure?
Yes.
Was it selectively edited?
No, it was live action. It was uncut. There were little symbols on the buttons as
Yeah,
well,
sure.
so you could tell what was getting hit.
Yeah.
It was
That's
a whole
crazy.
thing. It was wild to see.
I mean, it's wild, but it also makes total sense. It's just operant conditioning.
Fair.
Like, you know, like it's a Skinner box with pigeons poking at a button and getting fed, right? Like, if the dog, you could very easily train the dog to like, hey, press this button, okay, you get food. Press this button and this button in sequence, you get food or more food. These 3 in a row, and then you get food. Like, it's actually very clearly like something that like Pavlov back in the day did it. Pavlov did operant conditioning. It's great. Operant conditioning works like a charm. It's amazing. But it's cool to see it in practice.
No, it's awesome. It even got to the point where like some of Bunny's owners would be out of the room, and it would be like, "Where? Marvin?
Really?
Or Marvin, where? Yeah.
Wild.
It was wild
Are there
to see it in
videos
action.
of this?
Oh yeah, there's a very robust TikTok page.
Robust.
Oh my!
Robust, though.
It is very fleshed out.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see. But maybe we could talk to those companies and get ourselves a little theory board where it's like remnant agony. Yeah, you know.
MatPat theory. Lore. I like it. Well, now it's time for Rye Toast. Freddy. Wait, what were you gonna go?
I was gonna go. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna affirm you.
Yeah.
No time for questions.
No questions. Only answers today.
Exactly.
Hopefully.
Boom.
Maybe,
Once
perhaps.
we figure out what the theory is. Let's figure out what the theory is, shall we?
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
All right.
animatronics, but for the vengeful spirit, put them alive inside of the Fredbear Springlock suit and triggered the Springlocks. That might be the difference. That might.
Okay. Sorry. I'm like, where were we again? I
Yes.
remember now.
Yes.
We were with him trying to pick out why why the vengeful spirit is different.
Right.
And it was because they were spring locked,
Yeah.
potentially. And so it was a more violent or brutal death.
Yes.
And so that was the hypothesis here.
Alive and put into the Springlock suit to get the Springlocks.
Yeah, and then maybe drowning in a pool of their own blood, hence the red lake, which we're all like, press X to be skeptical.
Yeah, but it's so poetic.
It's a neat idea.
Yes.
There just needs to be more connections than stuff that could be easily, but what is that really meant to be there?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes red water, just red water. Sometimes you have a lot of algae in there.
Ooh.
Red tide is a real thing that exists.
Red tide.
Yeah.
I heard of
I
red
have
moons,
heard of
but
that.
not red tides.
Oh yeah, no, red tide. Yeah, very much so. It happens. It's a lot of times. It's very famous in Mexico. From the sargassum is specific.
The sargassum.
Oh yeah, the sargassum.
Ooh.
Yeah, so like you want to go down to like the beaches down in Mexico. They're very beautiful, but every once in a while they get inundated with this like sargassum, which is this like big like pile of plants that just kind of like surge onto the beach and sometimes give
Ooh.
them like a red tint and stuff like that.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, fun times.
Woo.
Cause enough agony to allow the vengeful spirit the ability to cause ultimate custom night. Sure, all of the missing child incident victims want revenge on William Afton, but they get it when William Afton dies via Springlock. The vengeful spirit, though, is not satisfied there. So, if
Kind of like the Schuyler sisters.
You'll never be satisfied.
The vengeful spirit never be satisfied. Schuyler's a Peggy and vengeful spirit.
Maybe the vengeful spirit's name is actually Angelica.
Whoa!
The
I'm
whole
assuming
thing was
this is a
Hamilton
musical reference.
Yes.
This is the crossover that I feel like the FNAF franchise needed. Like during anniversary week, they're like, oh yeah, we're doing Dead by Daylight. Sure, that's fine. What I was really hoping for was the Lin-Manuel X FNAF crossover. Freddy starring in Hamilton.
Ah, yes.
Can you imagine if Lin-Manuel Miranda went on stage and was like, yo, I'm Freddy, you know, with one of those.
Oh, that's great. As I move more and more into theater endeavors in my life, like doing Your Lie in April and Grey House last year, I don't get it twisted, animatronic. I am not opposed to the idea of doing a FNAF musical live on stage for the
Oh my
masses.
God.
Oh no, we need to get random encounters involved with that.
It would be the most epic YouTube collab. Like we would pull. It would be kind of like the SpongeBob musical. We're getting to Rye Toast. I swear. I am so sorry. I am so sorry, but we gotta talk about this.
Yes.
The SpongeBob musical.
Very good.
Let's talk about this. Slept on, not really appreciated by Broadway in a lot of ways.
I agree.
But the songs were interesting because instead of having like one or two composers doing everything, instead they got like a bunch of different composers to each do one song. So it becomes kind of like this mega mix or this like one, everyone has their say. And the songs are actually really good.
Oh my gosh, they're fantastic. My favorite is I'm Not a Loser from
nice,
Squidward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so good.
It's a very strong show, and musically it goes much harder than you would expect the SpongeBob show to go.
Yes.
But similarly, if we did a FNAF musical and you got like DA Games to do one, you get Random Encounters to do one, you get CG5 to do one, and you go like across the spectrum of
That would be awesome.
Right? Wouldn't that be cool?
I would watch that.
Right?
I'm sorry. I like the idea of like Random Encounters is there, Stoops has a song, CG5 has a song, and then Lin-Manuel Miranda is on the phone.
Special guest appearance. Let's get another 10 seconds into this, shall we?
Let's
Except
do
that
it.
for now, that's all well and fine, and it explains why the Vengeful Spirit is able to create Ultimate Custom Night partially. In Fazbear Frights, Andrew is connected to William Afton, literally sharing a spot in his brain. So presumably, the Vengeful Spirit would also need to be connected to William Afton in some way.
Yeah.
How would that happen? Well, frankly, I'd been stuck on there for a while, and then Stormister on YouTube just...
Oh, there is aggressive
Sorry.
pointing now.
I've seen this
PowerPoint.
video that Rye is talking about, and like I don't agree with everything in the video, but like the concept behind, I think that Rye's going to be talking about here, I do think I agree with, and it's really cool, and it explains things, and I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay, no spoilers.
Okay, can you give us more detail if we don't get a lot of that information here?
Scrap Trap makes a lot more sense.
Okay,
Great. Go.
straight up had a great theory on it. It's one
Great
of the
theory.
few theory videos that I've watched, and I'm like, damn, they just kind of nailed that. And I've just accepted the theory moving forward. You should
All right, so we should not be watching this video. We should be watching that video.
I'm sure there's a link in the description.
We'll check it out.
really go watch their full video to get like the
Great.
full context of
We
the
shall do
video.
that.
Alright.
But essentially, for the purposes of this theory, after the events of FNAF 3 and after the fire, Springtrap also needed to do repairs on himself. One,
Okay.
because of the fire, but two, to better combat the coating inside of Springtrap's suit that
Wait, what?
Okay,
Wait, what?
We're talking about coding. Sorry.
What?
We're talking about coding.
He's got
inside the suit.
Python! Oh my god, they got C++ instead of Springtrap.
Oh, you said coding. You
Yeah.
said coding. I thought it said coating, C-O-A-T-I-N-G.
Oh, no.
In which case, I'm like, what? We're talking about the inside, like polyethylene inside of Springtrap?
No, I was thinking people keep like...
Theories be going to places I never imagined.
Well, like, can we get subtitles up? What was the consonant there?
It was coding. So
Like D or T?
D, as in programming. You have the
Yes,
basically it's
coding.
the programming in question.
Okay.
Is Springtrap going from room to room when he hears the noise, because that's what the Spring Bonnie animatronic is programmed
Yes.
to do,
His programming.
and that
Yes.
stops Springtrap from attacking the FNAF 3 guy. And therefore William would be like, "This sucks. I want to not do that."
Okay.
Right.
That's,
Okay.
That is better to me.
Yeah,
I thought when it said coating, C-O-A-T-I-N-G, I'm like, oh, we go into some strange places today, my friends.
He's got linens in there.
Right? I have thought about every obscure detail in this franchise, but not even I have thought about the obscurity of what is the inner lining of Springtrap's outfit.
The material makeup is actually a huge component of the lore.
Massive
man.
lore reveals happening in the insulation inside that mascot outfit, you know?
Oh my gosh.
Let me re-listen to the sentence now that I know the proper word that I should be listening for.
but two, to better combat the coating inside of Springtrap's suit that forces him to follow audio lores.
Okay.
There it is. Okay.
What better place to source pieces for your original Springlock suit than its partner, Fredbear? This even lines up with what Molten Freddy and Scrap Baby do after Sister Location, rebuild themselves. Springtrap rebuilds himself using pieces of the Fredbear suit, and in doing so, William Afton is taking the Vengeful Spirit's soul and affixing it to himself.
That's interesting.
And I think that's a really cool idea.
Okay, so basically, to summarize in layman's terms, oh no, I got burned at the end of FNAF 3, and whoops, significant portions of my body are hurt or maimed in some way, so let me replace them by stealing pieces and parts from the other golden suit that exists, Golden Freddy, which is why we get things like, and I see in the video we're highlighting like the muzzle, we're highlighting the feet,
Yeah,
things
it
like that.
explains how it changes from Springtrap to Scrap Trap.
Okay, Springtrap, FNAF 3. Here, let's just pull them up side by side. Because I am curious to see this. Okay. We've got...
Because dude doesn't have any feet coverings.
He does not have any feet coverings.
Dogs are out.
Not that you can see them on
Unfortunately.
that screen.
Grappy Boy 2. Is this official? That's always the question. That's one of the tricks you always have to watch out for,
If
is
it's-
even on the wikis.
If it's Scrappy Boy, I don't think it's an
I
official
was gonna say, I
render.
don't
Yeah,
think
this
it's
looks-
But
official.
I think
it's
it's
handmade.
it's a model that's pretty close at least.
Because I was going to say, too, like, do we see his feet? I guess we do in some of the overhead camera footage. Right?
Yeah.
Do we?
Mm.
And I think we got the model from Help Wanted or something.
I mean, yeah, no, I'm sure
Yeah.
at this
So
point
that's what-
the model exists somewhere. Yeah,
I'm-
forgive me. I've never truly spent a lot of time thinking about Springtrap's feet, which is ironic because I've thought about a
Wow.
lot of feet in this franchise.
There are some toes you just cannot count.
Right? I didn't think that I needed to count his toes, but apparently I was not paying enough attention to the right toes. So, okay, Scrap Trap, FNAF. So Scrap, but does he replace his cleft chin? That's the question with Scrap Trap, because Boy gets a very strong chin after he replaces his body parts.
Yay!
There it is. Okay. So we got the muzzle.
Yeah, Springtrap doesn't have the line down the center that Scrap Trap does, but Golden Freddy has the line down the center.
Yeah. No, this is very, you're totally right. Like, or she's totally right. Rise. The dominoes of people who are right in calling this out are all correct. This is absolutely more of a Golden Freddy nose and muzzle than it is anything else, actually. So that's a fantastic call out.
So while I am hesitant to say that he replaced the parts in order to make him not follow the programming, because presumably Golden Freddy would have that same programming,
Yeah.
I do think that it makes sense, like, as a repair function, or just that he did it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like that's what happened there. And then that would then mean that the spirit in Golden Freddy could then move over.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's an interesting idea, right? I agree. To layer on this idea of like, oh, he has programming inside of him, I feel that it feels like a couple steps. Like you have to accept a couple steps there, which the games don't really... Like there's not, I wouldn't necessarily say there's a whole lot of evidence. That's one of those times where you're like, is this just a gameplay mechanic or is there an actual reason for the gameplay mechanic? I think for me, the idea of just like, he's a golden bunny killer who, like so many other people in this franchise, are just kind of like drawn to things or have this kind of like natural reflex to go because it is part of their like spirit, it's part of their essence, right? That's driving them to do that. However you do it, that's one of those things like we were talking about last time where it's like the what of it I don't think matters quite as much as kind of like the broader strokes, right? The broader strokes here I like a lot, which is, hey, why he changed so much outside of Scott want merch money, presumably.
Is there Scrap Trap merch?
Is there Scrap Trap? I don't know.
I don't
Probably
know.
not, because everyone's like, this model's the worst. I remember when this came out and everyone's like, I hate this. Right? Like, why'd you do this, man? I also love the fact that, you know, he's going to the trouble of replacing like his feet but he's like, let me take my viscera and just put on my new pair of shoes here.
Yeah, that I blame on like funky remnant healing gone wrong or something.
Let me just squelch myself into my shoes over here.
Like, worst shoelaces ever.
Because Springtrap also doesn't, I don't think Springtrap has flesh that far down his legs.
Right? I don't...
So I'm just like, remnant, it regrew wrong.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But I do love the call out, and I do gotta acknowledge, like,
Oh, yeah.
he's like, hey, muzzle, sure, feet, absolutely, missing arm, fine.
Don't worry about that.
I don't need anything there. This is good.
Maybe that was like right before he showed up at the pizzeria.
He's like, I got places to go and people to see. Oh wait, I don't have an arm there to check my watch.
I'll deal with that later.
Yeah, well, I don't have time for that. I gotta get the essentials done. I need my shoes on now. No shirt, no shoes, no service. He's got his shirt on. He's got his shoes on. Nothing about arms.
Nothing about arms.
He's got to abide by the policies of the pizzeria. That's a cool call out. I like that. That's a really interesting theory. I am curious to see more of it, and I like the concept.
Yeah.
Because it does explain away, you know, one of those where it's like why he different? Well, why any of them really different? And it's
True.
Scott just wanted to make new models between games sometimes. But I get it. That's cool. And like Rye calls out too, the idea that this falls in line with how Trash has worked it, like how Scrap Baby did it too, where it's like recycling other parts and stuff. It's cool. It's a good call out. I like it.
William Afton is taking the vengeful spirit's soul and affixing it to himself, eventually causing his ultimate downfall.
That's
now
cool.
they're in the same cobbled together suit, almost like a remnant injection, or more aptly, an agony infection.
Oh, remnant?
Agony? Yeah.
Ooh, he got a little grind in it that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. That diaphragm.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right?
Engaged.
Oh, your diaphragm was so engaged there.
Thank you.
It was great.
Okay, to a point, an injection, or more aptly, an agony infection. Okay,
I love this. Drop all the buzzwords.
Right? I would say more of a transfusion.
Whoa.
If anything.
It's true.
You know,
Yeah.
with like blood and stuff, but it's remnant.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
So you got with it being remnant, you got to use injection because the scooper. So you have to have as many references as you can. You know?
Oh, all
Of
the
course.
words.
Of course.
Hey, we got through the main section of a thing. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well done, everyone. This is me shaking everyone's hands.
Cool. I can just shake your hand, but
Reach out and grab that hand.
Okay. Cool.
You got it. This is great.
All right,
There,
fine.
Perfect.
Fine.
Seize that opportunity.
Okay,
Seize
will
that
do.
opportunity and seize that hand.
Great. What's the theory?
Finally, who is possessing Golden Freddy? We've reacted to someone else's theory,
Yeah.
and it was a great theory. Cool. Loved it. Awesome. Let's react to the theory that we tried to do an hour and 45 minutes ago.
to a
Awesome.
point, I get it. So far, this theory solves the easier parts of Golden Freddy.
Have we solved something? We did it, boys! Yeah, well done. There you go. See? Get ready. Coming at you in all different directions.
Okay.
You never know.
Okay.
Is Golden Freddy doing in the franchise, and then what does the spirit inside of Golden Freddy do after it is dismantled? That's relatively straightforward for this part of the theory. There was a child who was killed by being placed inside of a springlock suit, and then their spirit had such an agony-fueled vendetta against William Afton.
That one wasn't as
that
much
once they
diaphragm.
got the opportunity by being connected to William Afton,
You're
they
good,
were
don't
able
worry.
to create the ultimate custom night,
still funny.
trapping William forever in his own torment. I didn't even get to the fact that in Fazbear's Frights, Andrew, the character with enough agony to do ultimate custom night, went
Yeah.
I like the wind up. I appreciate the wind up.
You
It's
don't
the only
see,
way I can access the diaphragm.
you don't see this off camera, but every time you see ID just just go, it's like jumping into a pool. Like, here we go.
It's like Oswald's cannonball into the pit.
Gotta have that build-up.
it's great.
when Andrew touches someone as part of the Stitch Wraith, or rather, it's a little convoluted. When the Stitch Wraith touches someone,
Get out of it. It's a little convoluted. Since when?
If they think it's convoluted, I am just screwed. Right?
Right, it is.
Like, game over.
You know,
honestly.
what? Sure, you could follow the agony transfusions and the remnant injections, but we're losing you with the hyper agony touching device.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was bad.
We didn't even
Yeah.
get into the black tear streaks from the eyes and the burning and the agony infection. Burn it out now.
Yeah.
Because that's in there too.
So follow this next section, Ash.
Right, okay, I'm locked in.
Okay.
All right,
the
we got
Stitch
it.
Wraith, or rather, it's a little convoluted. When the Stitch Wraith touches someone by being powered from Andrew, which
Okay.
could be partially William, it's a whole thing. But anyway, there's enough agony that just by touching someone, they instantly shrivel up and die. And
Yep.
I don't know about you.
This is true.
Oh, God.
Every time he says it, I'm like, respectfully touched.
Respectfully.
But it's not. The Stitch Wraith isn't respectfully touching people.
No, this seems like the embodiment of disrespect.
Stitch Wraith, disrespectful touching all over the place.
But that seems like a pretty good explanation for the Golden Freddy jump scares. After all, every other jump scare shows some kind of violent action happening. I mean, except for Springtrap, he just kind of mews at you. But Golden Freddy...
That meme.
Oh, that's great.
Just walks into the room.
That was beautiful.
explanation for the
I gotta
Golden
experience
Freddy
that again.
jump scares. After all, every other jump scare shows some kind of violent action happening. I mean,
Some of them, I don't know. It's more often just like large head comes close to camera.
Yeah, like, hi.
Ah, right?
except for Springtrap, he just kind of mews at you. But Golden Freddy just looks at you, and then you're dead, which lines up with that agony death. So that's all well and good. But if I don't think that Andrew is the vengeful spirit, then who is? Well, frankly, I think we...
Okay, we're there.
All right.
Are we ready?
All right.
Yes.
30 minutes plus whatever the last recording was. We're there, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's do this.
We've made it. 17 minutes in. Let's conquer this hill.
I'm ready.
We only have one real lead on who Golden Freddy might be,
One.
and that happens to be in the security logbook.
Whoa!
My favorite FNAF book.
I like that you're celebrating for the FNAF book while Ash and I are like, he did magic!
That was such a smooth transition.
I mean, it was. But also, I really like the survival logbook.
As do I.
Well done.
Clap and a half. Well done.
So let's go over that. Throughout the Five Nights at Freddy's security logbook,
Wait, hold
there
on.
are
Sorry. I'm sorry. I know there's a theory to react to. Do you see that sticky note of Freddy and Bonnie kissing in the background?
Oh, wow.
Was that there the whole time?
Probably.
I think he was blocking it before, because I also don't... See, while you're doing that, I'm intrigued by the just large globule of snot.
Also that.
Fazgoo.
I know it's I know it's Fazgoo, but it
It's-
really just reminds me of a large globule of snot.
But it's the wrong color.
I don't know what color your snot is, ID's Fantasy.
Okay.
Just saying.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, let's not judge each other's snot colors, okay?
My
Boy.
apologies.
Don't judge a man by the color of his mucus. His mucosal lining. Thank you very
Oh
much.
boy.
I thought you were calling out FNAF 1 rules at first. I'm like,
Same.
do you have feelings about FNAF 1 and it not ruling?
Well, I do think it rules. It was very fun when I played it for the first time recently. So, I was just drawn to the striking artwork.
Yeah.
Right next to it. So, your stance is known, Rye.
Yeah.
Your stance is known.
Yeah.
3 speakers that you can find. One writes in red ink,
Oh,
one
classic.
writes in faded text,
Yes.
and the other one alters the text already printed on the page.
Yes.
So for moving on, I'll call them red ink, faded, and altered. What's
Classic.
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 We've been here.
Yep.
We've tread these boards many a time.
But operational definitions are always helpful.
Very much appreciated.
really important here is that I believe these speakers are having a sort of conversation. Faded text is trying to bring forth memories of altered text and help them in any way. And I believe that altered text and red ink are trying to help Faded remember their name. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Dual Process's timeline here. After all,
I remember
I'm pretty
that
sure
one.
Their timeline is what inspired so many creators to make a Golden Freddy video this summer. Anyway, I want to be very explicitly clear. I am not here to say that Dual Process or any other theorist is wrong. Very, very, very few FNAF theories are ever wrong. I disagree with a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's theories. In fact, I disagree with whole interpretations of this series, but that doesn't mean
Yep.
they're
Right? Scene. Respect. Respectful
It
disagreement.
be like that sometimes.
Yeah, very much so.
Read at 3:02 p.m.
incorrect. 99% of the time, when theories differ on the same topic, it just comes down to how you interpret the evidence we have. Most of this franchise is very loose and very speculative evidence that can be interpreted in many different ways.
Accurate.
Like I've said thousands of times on this channel, you could make dozens of fully fleshed out, 100% in-depth Five Nights at Freddy's timelines, and all of them could be completely different, and all of them could be fully evidentiarily backed, because
Tell me about it. I've done like 20 of them. I see that. I feel that. I feel that, Rye. Yep. Right
there
there.
is so many gaps in the information we have. That's part of the reason why this franchise is so fun to theorize and speculate about. It really comes down to how you interpret these vague clues that we have. So just because I disagree with the theory doesn't mean I'm saying it's incorrect. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I interpret something differently. And
I'm sorry. I'm also, I respect what he's saying and I agree with it 100%. I'm also just incredibly distracted by the fact that Helpy is just dying slow, painful deaths over and over again in the background.
The poor
Oh,
little
man.
guy.
Right,
He's doing his best.
Right, I just see him cracking his neck over and over again.
Well, I appreciate that y'all are locked in on that. I'm focusing on the like Wii-esque music in the background. I'm like imagining Mies in my mind right now at the bowling alley. And there's so much going on.
So really what we're saying is that this video has something for everyone.
It's so true.
Wii bowling music, a violent, painful animatronic death, other theories,
The survival logbook.
the survival logbook,
Magic tricks.
smorgasbord of content here.
Rye really captured the whole internet
Exactly.
with this video.
In one video. It's a beautiful thing.
Props.
And that's where I sit with Dual Processes and many other interpretations of Golden Freddy, but specifically talking about the logbook because that's been recently brought up. I
time,
believe
guys.
that this logbook is showing us faded text has forgotten their name, but altered text has forgotten most everything. It's a very common theme.
Everyone just forgets it. And Scott, forgot his lore.
Nights at Freddy's that once you die, your memories become fragmented and hard to parse, especially if your body is missing. And although it seems
This is, so talking about your memories slowly disappearing, this makes me think of Into the Pit, just because it's of recency bias in a lot of ways. But one of the bad endings, right, of Into the Pit is Oswald being turned into a robot or animatronic version of himself to some capacity. And it starts with him being Oswald. And then as there are more and more kind of like conversation beats through that ending, he loses his identity bit by bit, piece by piece.
Right.
So it seems to be reflecting a lot of what Rye is saying here.
Yeah, and I always go back to the novel trilogy where William or whoever says something about, like, the dead tend to forget.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't remember that William's the guy who killed them.
Right. Which is ultimately why in the movie and in Fourth Closet, the big finale to the whole thing, right, it all comes down to putting pictures together or redrawing pictures in order to remind the animatronics of, like, this is what happened to you. And then they're like, no, that's right. I'm going to trust this random kid's drawing that just happened right now. I'm angry at William Afton. If anyone was confused about the final scenes of the FNAF movie, that's where it comes from. It's actually largely based in the books, right? Where in multiple climaxes of the various books, you have the pictures being the thing that, like, jog the memories of the animatronics. And they're like, yeah, that's right. Let's fight against this guy. So the idea of the dead forget, very accurate.
It's like Faded Text is really trying to help Altered remember anything. Faded Text seems to not remember things themselves. That is where Altered and Red Text come in. All of the clues that elucidate the name in the word search of this book are given to us by red ink or altered text. So, who are these characters that we're reading? Well, it's stated in the front that red ink is Mike. It literally says the book belongs, oh, you cannot see it with my lighting. It says the book belongs to Mike in red text right at the front.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty unambiguous. So then who are Altered and Faded? Well, the altered text seems to be the crying child, and most people agree with that. After all, the things the altered texts say are pretty, I guess, like, crying child coded. Things like
I mean,
awesome.
correct.
Awesome.
I also love the neck wiggle as the crying child coded.
see, I'm scared, and a lot of the questions pointed to the altered text resonate with the crying child. Things like, do any of these toys look familiar to you? Do one of these belong to you? And there we've got a phone that looks like the phone from the FNAF 4 bedroom. So a lot of people agree that the altered text definitely seems to be the crying child. So then who is the faded text? Well, I believe the name we get out of the word search, Cassidy, is the faded text. This is telling us a story of Michael communicating with two of the spirits of this franchise.
Yes.
Spirits that are trying to help each other and trying to receive help from Michael. So
Yes.
why do I think Faded is the one whose name is Cassidy? Well, simply put, Faded text writes my name
Yes.
so many times
So
in this
many
book.
times. Yes.
Like, just flipping through it, there's one. There's the one on the graveyard. On the page with the drawings, there's another one. On this page about feelings for tonight's shift, my name. And what's most notable is the pages that say the word my name in faded text are the same pages where you get the hints for the crossword. So
Yes,
Except for I think there's one where there isn't a my name, but it's a clue anyway.
it's true, but that also, to me, that actually confuses things, because it's like, but on these pages, there's altered text that that's where it gets confusing, I think.
And one of them was Michael.
Right,
So it's like, okay.
yeah, it gets
I think that was
confusing.
just to like draw more attention to some clues that would be less obvious.
Yeah.
Because like some of the clues are like, oh, the numbers are red here. That's very, very obvious. You don't always when you have numbered lists, you expect it to be in number order.
Yeah.
This just makes it more obvious.
Yeah, it's good to signal that something is amiss.
Because otherwise, I would miss that.
Oh, the 7-2?
Yeah.
And the my name? No, the 7-2 is, wasn't it also tied to the fact that in the crossword grid, you go over 7 and down 2?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is like I would not have noticed that clue.
Yeah.
If not for there being my name on the page, because my attention to detail only goes so far.
Oh, man. Meanwhile, me,
Other people have.
yeah,
my theories function because other people point stuff out. I'm like, oh, that's neat.
Right? What a funny thing to have said.
So if faded text is writing my name, and then altered or red ink gives us a hint to numbers to the The solving this story, I believe, is Michael Afton reaching out to Cassidy and the crying child, trying to help them regain any possible memories they might still have, and Cassidy and the crying child trying to help each other. In fact, I think Cassidy and the crying child are very close, but don't let the alarm bells ring yet. I don't believe that they're in the same animatronic. I'm not here to argue that there are two spirits within Golden Freddy. Frankly, I don't think there are.
I heard ID going,
I disagree.
Yeah, you think there's two spirits?
Yes. But I do agree with some of the counterpoints that some people have,
Okay.
and he's probably going to bring some of them up.
All right, so let's see if he brings them up then.
I think Golden Freddy is solely inhabited by Cassidy. So then the next logical question would be, where's the crying child, and why does Golden Freddy say, it's me?
So yeah, and we'll hop in. We'll let this play and see if it addresses this stuff. Otherwise, I'd love for you to dive into it. But I think in general, and I think it's fairly safe to say that the vengeful spirit, who is likely Cassidy, I think it's generally agreed upon that that person is definitely inside a Golden Freddy.
Yes.
Right? I feel like everyone's like, yes. I think where you start to, and I think like if we left it there and we're like, that's a day, like I think everyone's happy.
Right.
And you solved it, and the crying child just kind of dies. You know?
Except did he, is the issue.
Right, yeah, and right, he's getting into like, where's the crying child then? And I think that's a valid question, but we're all good with like, hey, Golden Freddy and Cassidy, one and the same. I think, you know, there is this debate going on about like, are there two spirits in Golden Freddy? That is always kind of the rub of this, right? Is like, do you want there to be two spirits in there? Is it actually crying? Like, if there is a second child in there, it's definitely the bite victim. So that's the challenge here. At least we can all agree on something.
Yes.
And I want to call out, hey, sometimes the FNAF fandom does agree on things. And
Except for when they think it's Andrew. So they don't always agree on things, unfortunately.
But we agree on fun things.
That's true.
Yes.
Such as Funky Tom being the name of the character in the new trailer from Steel Wool.
The Mimic, but no, it's Funky Tom, actually.
Yeah.
Funky Tom.
His name's
Reddit has
Funky
dubbed
Tom.
him Funky Tom.
Funky Tom the Mimic.
Yes.
Funky to Mimic. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I tried.
It's okay.
You know, you take your shot. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, you threw away your shot.
I did.
Lin-Manuel Phone Guy would be very upset with you.
I didn't throw away my shot. I took my shot.
Yeah.
I just missed.
Yeah.
Like
You miss all the shots you don't take.
like, you know, his dual rival who did not miss and thereby killed him. Spoiler alert for the end of Hamilton.
Spoiler alert for American history.
And also history.
For the record.
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger. Shoot Alexander Hamilton. Don't do that. Sorry.
You're welcome for the test answer.
Yeah, you're welcome. There it is. Yay, history.
One of the closest links to Golden Freddy having partial possession by the crying child was the repeated use of the phrase, it's me. After all, most of the time we see it's me in game, Michael Afton is the player. And Michael Afton's little brother reaching out to say it's me makes a lot of sense. At least a lot more sense than Cassidy, some random kid saying it. So am I saying that Cassidy's
It's me, random kid. Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
the one saying it's me? No. I still think the crying child is saying that, but I don't think the crying child is saying that within Golden Freddy. One of my biggest problems
Just in the area, the general vicinity around Golden Freddy.
Yeah, amongst them.
Amongst y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, betwixt them.
Betwixt.
You might say betwixt them.
Betwixt all of them, perhaps.
All betwixt thems.
Betwixt all of y'all.
Yeah. Demons.
two spirits being within Golden Freddy is I've never seen a good reason for the crying child to end up inside of Golden Freddy. After all, it seems very clear to me that in
I feel like
FNAF
there's a good reason right behind you, buddy.
Perhaps this one.
the agony.
Exhibit A.
The agony.
Yeah!
Yeah!
It's like we're down at the rodeo every time. Yeah.
Give you a variety of sound bites to use. For
I love it.
Perfect.
It's like the Howard Dean. Yeah.
Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
There it is. There it is. Agony.
Howard I. Dean.
Howard I. Dean. We're going to North Dakota and South Dakota. Yeah. We're having some agony. Oh, delightful.
But yeah, the bite does seem to be like a way where the even if the crying child didn't die in that moment, like Rye was talking about earlier, agony is just a thing, and I'm pretty sure the crying child was in a lot of pain in that particular moment. So there is an attachment between him and the suit at that point.
I would actually 100% agree with that, right? Like, one of the things that I feel like the books do a fairly good job of explaining is, agony attaches to objects of torment or like...
in proximity to the torment.
Yeah, to the things where bad things have happened, right? And sometimes agony can infect a whole building or whatever, a whole room sometimes. And, right, I know, it's a bummer.
Yeah, so even if the crying child's spirit was died somewhere else,
yes,
he would have been, theoretically speaking, drawn back to what caused his death and the pain that would have then infused itself into the suit.
As like the source of torment.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, this was the traumatic moment, the agony-inducing moment, and so it is fused into the agony-inducing object, which is Golden Freddy.
Yes, given the limp child's body, that would make sense.
Yep.
Yeah, so, which I also see his point where it's like, well, the crying child dies somewhere else, but yes, this is the moment where it is transferred in some way, or he is drawn back to it after death. I see where you're going with it, ID, and I would agree.
4, the crying child is put into some sort of coma after being bitten by Fredbear and then is taken back to his house to live out his last final days until eventually dying. I also believe that afterwards his body is buried in an unmarked grave in the woods, the very same lump we see in Midnight Motorist. So, if the crying child's body is buried in the woods and not in an animatronic, how would his soul be partially possessing Golden Freddy? It wouldn't, I think.
Agony!
Yeah!
Beyond power of speech. That's my answer.
I liked your harmonic, yeah!
Right? We're harmonizing now. It's great.
The crying child's
See, FNAF the musical is happening.
Booyah!
It is being formed live on this couch as we speak.
soul is lost. And to better explain what I mean
Wait,
by
his
that,
soul's lost?
I
Okay,
think
sorry.
the crying child's soul is lost.
Okay, so it's not, he's positing, here's the theory. 23 minutes in, we've gotten to the theory, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're doing that, so he's positing that crying child is not in Golden Freddy, that instead it is this roaming spirit. Okay, let's
And
see.
to better explain what I mean by that, we need one more story from the books, Alone Together. This is a very interesting story from Tales from the Pizza Place.
It's a weird
Not
one.
necessarily for the characters within it.
Where are we? This is Mario Odyssey.
Oh, okay.
This is the like opening level of Mario Odyssey.
I mean, there are ghosts, sort of, possessing hats, so
Right?
it's kind of on theme.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is kind of like grave, you know, like Ghostland, a little ghostly
It's
world.
the vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that. I was like, I didn't know Mario was in this universe.
The implications are kind of depressing, given all of the ghost hats.
A lot of ghost hats.
Very true.
It's a strange one.
Yeah,
Strange choice.
I can dig it though.
Yeah.
In it, but the plot and what it tells us about spirits and possession in Five Nights at Freddy's. In Alone Together, we learn that part of this universe is that if your body remains undiscovered after your death,
Mario.
you cannot move on, and often your memories are lost.
I understand this much better thanks to the Mario themed visual aids.
Genuinely very helpful.
Right? I'm like, oh, I appreciate this. This is great. I love it. This is a confused Mario ghost.
Yeah.
I get this. Now you're speaking my language.
The grandma of our main character tells him that lost spirits will often wander around the places they did when they were alive, and they might not even know they're dead until their body is discovered by themselves or
Awesome.
Jump scares Mario soul.
someone else. And then all of their memories come back and they can finally rest. This, I think,
I'm a tire.
The sound effects in this video are great.
Sublime.
Oh, peak.
and then all of their memories come back and they can finally rest. This, I think, lines up perfectly with the crying child. The crying child always seems pretty lost and scared. And if the crying child was taken from the hospital to rest and recover at home, but instead died and was buried in the woods, his body would likely be unknown to many people, most especially himself. He might not know he's even dead, instead wandering around the places he used to go when he was alive, like Fredbear's, Freddy's, and his home. And when he sees Michael...
Wait, so is Rye suggesting that FNAF 4 is the crying child's ghost wandering around?
Yeah, I don't know exactly where he's applying the. I'm hoping that he's gonna explain what he means because I'm having the same problem. Like he's showing a visual of like crying
FNAF
child
4.
running around in FNAF 4.
But he was alive then in order to get bit.
Right, but he was definitely alive in that moment, so it's not like
So it can't be that.
Yeah, so I don't know where he's applying like the soul is running because you could make this argument and say like he's a lost soul, he's running around. which is why Golden Freddy appears in a lot of different locations. To be honest, like you could apply this same kind of logical thread to Golden Freddy, randomly appearing and disappearing in places because he is a lost spirit who is looking for a home or identity or whatever. It's me.
And are there It's Me's in FNAF 2?
Are there It's Me's in FNAF 2?
Because the FNAF 2 location didn't exist when the crying child died. So why would the crying child's spirit be wandering around there if not tied to Golden Freddy?
Sure. Right? I forget. I don't know if It's Me is in.
I don't either. That's why I asked.
I know. No, it's a good question.
It might not be, which would okay. But
he reaches out to him saying, "It's me," which is why in FNAF 1, you can get It's Me randomly throughout the game, not just with Golden Freddy. So why? Sure.
Yeah, but also, like, Golden Freddy, we know that Golden Freddy is there in some circumstance, right? Like, yes, I get that, like, the It's Me doesn't always come attached to Golden Freddy appearing immediately thereafter.
But it always comes with Golden Freddy.
Right, but yeah, like, in general, you always see those two partner together, which feels weird to kind of separate them out, right? That's my take.
Or I think It's Me appearing without Golden Freddy is solid evidence for the crying child to not be there. But why does It's Me kick up so much when Golden Freddy is there? My best guess right now?
See, that's right, but now you're trying to kind of explain away, like, this is one of those moments where it's Occam's razor. Like, the simplest solution is the correct one in a lot of cases, where Occam's razor would dictate It's Me increases when Golden Freddy is there because Golden Freddy and It's Me are, like, connected, right? Like, that makes the most sense. Rather than decoupling them where the It's Me's happen rarely without Golden Freddy, but more so, like, it feels weird to explain it. If I were Rye, though, and I was pulling it, if I wanted to make this argument, the thing that would... Agony. Sorry, had to do it to Howard. I wonder where this man is these days. Where is Howard Dean? That's the theory of the day that I want.
Hopefully living a very happy life.
Right, me too. It is Help Wanted, Dreadbear, It's Me.
Oh, the banner thing.
The banner thing, yeah, this.
Oh.
If I were to cite decoupling of Golden Freddy, this is from Echo, this is an unbelievably rare Easter egg. Unbelievably rare. You need so much chance to do this. So you have a bunch of these guys, right? You got the evil clowns. So 3 posters randomly appear on the... Amazing. 3 posters randomly appear on the walls of this barn. Sometimes it's just one of the clowns.
But you need all 3.
But yeah, a very, very, very rare circumstance where you get all 3. You then have to get... There you go. You then have to get all 3 to have a dart on them, which is also pretty challenging. Actually, it is a very hard... Not only is the appearance of the posters really rare, but then to make sure that you're doing the darts correctly is also hard. But anyway, it then activates this. The poster for Fall Fest becomes It's Me.
Yep.
And nary a Golden Freddy in sight. This is the one circumstance where if you're like, hey, the It's Me and Golden Freddy are unrelated to each other, that's the piece of evidence that I would cite. But also, that is such a rare moment and such a very obscure detail relative to the amount of media that we've gotten of Golden Freddy and It's Me being partnered with each other.
So I actually use the It's Me in Help Wanted as evidence of Cassidy being around, because I sort of like link It's Me as a general statement kind of to both. But I could see like the crying child being in there too. But with the whole theory of Cassidy being the Princess Quest princess, I use that as evidence of, okay, as Glitch Trap is moving, Cassidy is following. And so Glitch Trap is in Help Wanted, and Cassidy is there. And the original Princess Quest is in Help Wanted.
Yeah.
So, or the mobile version of it anyway.
Sure.
And so that's how I took that as a connecting link of, okay, here's Cassidy moving, trying to chase down and destroy Glitch Trap.
Yeah, that's fair. Ash.
Oh, I was going to ask, for people less familiar with that game, what was that place we just looked at, and how is it not related to Golden Freddy at all?
Good question, Ash.
I don't know, man.
So, no, that's from Help Wanted 1, the first VR game.
Right.
It is a barn that you visit during the Curse of Dreadbear DLC. So it's not the main game, it's the DLC of that game.
Okay.
And in it, that's the first time, actually, the first time in the series that you hear of Fall Fest, which, as we've seen since that game's release, Fall Fest has become more and more important, right? We've seen more and more posters advertising Fall Fest being a yearly thing,
Right.
across multiple years. I believe this is Fall Fest 83.
Yes.
ID, right?
That sounds right.
Yeah. So
80 something.
Yeah, this is the one that we see, Fall Fest 83, I believe, which is important because it's the year that he's been.
So in a way, it is tangentially related to the Crying Child via 83.
Correct. Yeah, that's the connection that we have. Technically, is like if the bite happened in 83, It's Me, Fall Fest 83. It's not a direct reference to Golden Freddy, but it is one of those things where, like it's like 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon, right? Everyone's 6 degrees of separation away from Kevin Bacon. Everyone is like 3 degrees away separated from Golden Freddy.
Of course.
Pretty much.
But yeah, as far as what the barn's importance is or why it's there, not really explained. It's just a place where Fall Fest happened.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. That makes so much more sense why we were using it as an example.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, as you see, there's It's Me, there's no Golden Freddy. Maybe the fact that it's 83 is the thing that connects them, but that's the one time in my memory that I know that the two are decoupled.
Okay.
Scary dog privilege. Throughout the life of the crime.
What was the context for that?
Excuse me, scary dog privilege?
I feel like I missed something.
No, that you heard it as intended.
That's awesome.
Yeah! I'm gonna go to North Dakota with that scary dog privilege. Yeah!
Child to not be there, but why does It's Me kick up so much when Golden Freddy is there? My best guess right now, scary dog privilege.
Oh.
No, that was you heard it as intended.
Okay.
Well, what?
You get nothing.
Yeah, that's it. I wish that he does. I know he's going to go and explain what he means.
Yes.
I hope that he doesn't, though. It's like,
just leave it be.
Yeah, scary dog privilege, guys.
I heard.
Duh.
He's a scary guy, therefore.
Right? Ash
Spooky
is like,
stuff.
excuse me, what's scary dog privilege? And we're like, we got nothing for you.
And how does this relate to Golden Freddy or the Fall Fest of 83?
Nothing.
Scary bear privilege.
Throughout the life of the crying child, the Fredbear plushie is his best friend.
Yes.
I believe his father talks through a walkie-talkie into this plushie, so the crying child even believes this plushie is alive and can have conversations with him, to the point that when the crying child dies, he's...
Excuse me, Ash has thoughts and feelings.
Creepy. It's just creepy. You can continue.
It is a weird one.
Yeah.
It's also a really stupid idea. Like, it's just a dumb idea on William's part. It's like, let me set up cameras all around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So that with a microphone and this stuffed animal, all in an attempt to hang out with my kid.
This dude has so much money and free time for someone who is running his own business.
And also for a guy who's like, I have time to think through this solution and develop this solution.
Right.
But I can't be bothered to hang out with my kid.
No, certainly not.
He's too busy with his nightmare hallucination bunker that apparently exists.
Oh, Dinophobia! You brought up Dinophobia! Nothing like the FNAF franchise bringing up nightmare hallucination gas.
Yay.
That's apparently a thing now.
Yeah, or not. If it's not canon, who knows? But yeah.
Or it's canon, but also not at the same time.
Canon, but not.
Canon, but not continuity, because the distinction of terminology.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts.
Welcome to the FNAF Major, Ash.
Scary dog privilege.
Sees the voices of those around him as that Fredbear plushie. He trusts it more than anything. But after death, he's lost and confused and alone until eventually other spirits start popping up. One of those spirits inextricably linked to Fredbear. We see in the fourth closet that in the afterlife, when you're still lost and wandering, you see things differently. The Missing Child Incident kids see William Afton, a decrepit man in a wheelchair, as a funny bunny character, the one they know and love, their friend. So I believe that when Cassidy sees the crying child in the afterlife and reaches out to him, he sees his Fredbear plushie that he loved for all of his life. And from then on, the crying child stays by his Fredbear plushie as close as he can.
Sure, I don't think that there's enough evidence to support it. I'm curious where he's going there. But at the same time, this is again one of those things where, is this that significantly different or important? Like,
and is it possible? Because I'm pretty sure, like, Into the Pit is debatably in the game timeline. I don't think it is, but I think it has, like, some things that carry over. Because the year 1985 is given for the missing children incident in the novel trilogy and in the Fazbear Frights and in now Into the Pit.
Yep.
The crying child gets bitten in 1983.
Yeah.
I would then wonder, how would Cassidy be able to talk to the crying child?
Right. But I hear you, right? If the missing children's incident is happening in 1985, this kid's been dead for a long time. Joel Process says he's been hanging out in a coma in a random bunker for a while.
I think the flat line in the hospital is just him dying, you know?
Right? No, I think
he's just dead.
Yeah,
he dies there. There he goes.
That's another Occam's razor where it's like, you can come up with a lot of solutions for why it is, but in movie speak, flatline usually means dead, right?
Yeah, like you've got the hospital bed imagery in FNAF 4.
Yeah.
And then in Security Breach as well, there's a poster that I use as evidence for Cassidy and the Crying Child being in the same suit. Because there's a little girl with black hair in a bed with a FNAF 4 bedspread, but it's a hospital bed.
Yeah.
And in the books, Cassidy is described as a little girl with black hair.
Yes.
So I took that as, and then you carry this over to the logbook where there's a little girl with black hair receiving cake from the puppet, but Cassidy isn't resting.
Yeah.
She's tormenting William Afton in a nightmare coma, assuming this is Cassidy. So I'd be like, oh, this is showing Cassidy in places where it's actually the crying child experiencing it, is the way I took that. But yeah, in Security Breach, it's a hospital bed.
Yeah.
So I sort of took that as, oh, kid dies in hospital.
Right. Yeah, kid dies in hospital. I agree. I think that, again, it's the simplest solution in a game where there are very complicated solutions. And so, but simple answers and a large complicated solution, but like the individual pieces tend to be pretty simple. So I agree. I think hospital bed makes the most sense.
Golden Freddy acts as sort of a protector for the other children in the movie and in the books, and I can even see a similar role in the games. Charlotte is the one trying to find ways to have these souls rest and move on, but in the meantime, Cassidy is the one to protect them, and where Cassidy goes, the crying child follows.
I would like to point out here, though, in Ultimate Custom Night, Charlie, as the puppet, is the one who claims the others as being under her protection.
That is true, yeah.
So I do like the idea of, like, I do think Golden Freddy is sort of like the ringleader of the group.
Yeah.
But Charlie seems to be the one doing the protecting, caretaking aspect.
Yes, I agree. It would make it redundant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Golden Freddy is definitely the special one because it's the leader of the core 5, the 5 missing kids. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily the protector. It's just the one who is best able to channel its rage in a lot of ways. Because of
the agony. Yeah,
that was a good one. But it's one of those things, right, where even in Ultimate Custom Night, there's the line about, like, the others are like animals, but I am fully aware. That one is from the puppet, I believe.
Yes.
But yeah, it goes to show that you have, like, layers of recognition or, like, layers of control where you have the 4 main original animatronics who just kind of, like, react to stimuli around them. You point them in a direction, they're like, I will attack this thing now. Then you have Golden Freddy, who's a little bit more intentional with where that anger and rage and violence is being directed. And then you have Charlie, who is the one who is spiriting them along and trying to kind of get them to move on.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like, we got places to go, people to see.
Yeah.
Pearly gates are awaiting.
With Charlie's line about being very aware while the others are like animals, I actually interpret that to be talking about specifically in Ultimate Custom Night. Because, like, her lines seem to be, like, a lot more focused on her saying things to William compared to the other animatronics, which are just default stuff or the vengeful spirit talking through them for the most part.
Yeah.
So I sort of took that as all the other animatronics here are fakes, but I'm actually here and aware of what's going on.
Interesting.
But I think it could potentially be a thing with the others too, because Charlie's the one in Give Gifts, Give Life to gift the life. She would still be more aware and in control of things pre-death. And, well, not pre-death. She's dead.
She's dead. That is confirmed. Charlie is dead.
One of the few confirmed things in this franchise.
Accurate.
Pre-Ultimate Custom Night.
Yeah.
I just like pointing out fun little ideas.
Yeah, no, ideas!
Psychic friend Fredbear. I made this GIF to hopefully better explain what I'm trying to say here. It's a little off the beaten path, I know. Since you can have It's Me without Golden Freddy.
Post-death.
Crying child POV.
Post-death IRL.
It's not Golden Freddy saying it's me. The crying child is wandering around Freddy's, seeing some of his old friends, and every now and then seeing Michael, his older
hanging out with his bestie.
And he'll say it's me, but Michael doesn't react.
It's me,
but
guys.
then when he's following Cassidy, and Cassidy goes to Michael, he tries to get Michael's attention. It's me, it's me. Look away, it's me, it'll be safe, don't look at Cassidy. And hopefully, Michael listens. So to summarize the story of Golden Freddy, the crying child already lost in the afterlife is wandering around these locations. And one day, William Afton takes the 5th victim of the missing child incident and places
So it's one day, eventually, the kid finds Cassidy and starts following Cassidy around because Golden Freddy, Fredbear, my friend. Okay.
Places their body in the spring-lock suit of Golden Freddy, killing Cassidy. From then on, Cassidy acts as a sort of vengeful protector of the other children, especially the lost and confused crying child. The crying child often sticking by the side of Cassidy, or in his eyes, Fredbear, until eventually one fateful day, William dismantles the Fredbear suit and attaches pieces of it to himself, trying to repair the burnt husk of Springtrap, forming Scraptrap, but in that moment, Cassidy, the spirit within Fredbear, attaches itself to William's soul. And once William...
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like narratively, that also ties into the whole, like, William Afton walkie-talkie thing with Fredbear, where it's like those things were always sort of tied together, whether or not the crying child realized that. So having, like, the Golden Freddy pieces onto Scraptrap too, I could definitely see from, like, a storyline perspective how those things working into this theory together would be kind of would have that sort of arc to it.
It's poetry, it rhymes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think in this case, I like pieces and parts of this. Like, I like hey, he puts on the parts of the Golden Freddy suit, and that is how Cassidy, the vengeful spirit, gets infused and mixed with William and is able to trap him in this, like, endless purgatory state that is Ultimate Custom Night. I think that's really cool. I think that's great. When it comes to the crying child just kind of like following Golden Freddy around because it's like, oh, that's my plushie. I don't see why you need it. I guess, like, whether it is two spirits and one animatronic or two spirits closely associated with an animatronic, one inside of it and one kind of just hovering around the outskirts, I don't think it kind of functions the same way, right? It's not really dividing it up at all. I guess the only thing that Rye is doing here is it explains why the vengeful spirit Cassidy goes to Afton, but crying child does not transfer as well, right? Like, I think that's the one thing that this theory is trying to kind of solve, which is like, well, if Ultimate Custom Night, like, why isn't crying child present there at all?
I will say, I kind of think the crying child is there.
You think so?
Yeah. So, like, I'm pretty sure yesterday, or maybe not yesterday. So when you death coin in Ultimate Custom Night, you death coin Golden Freddy, you get the Fredbear jump scare.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, animatronics do not change into a different animatronic.
Right.
They just die.
Yeah.
So I theorize that could be Golden Freddy out of commission.
Yeah.
But Fredbear, the crying child, comes in and jump scares William.
Yeah. I think that's a valid. Like, I was thinking along the same lines. Like, there's a world where he is still present there. And yeah, it's just, he's the other version of it, that kind of like underwater Fredbear. The other thing that comes to my mind is Crying Child actually released in that, because Happiest Day has happened.
Yeah.
Right? And so Happiest Day...
And the fifth kid is wearing a Golden Freddy mask.
Correct.
So therefore associated with Golden Freddy.
Right.
And Cassidy did not move on.
Yes.
So...
Right, that's my thought, is like... Was Happiest Day completely futile, or did things happen there?
I mean, with the FNAF 4 box being, I decided not to go that route.
Yeah.
Maybe it just didn't.
I mean, it might be, but it's one of those things where, like, I like to think that FNAF 3, the Happiest Day minigame, where the puppet comes in and does these minigames, and, at the end, all the spirits kind of drop their masks and fade away. I like to think that those 5 get kind of put onward, but maybe it's the wrong Golden Freddy. Like, it's not the Cassidy angry spirit, it's the crying child spirit is released there, but Cassidy holds on and lingers, which is why the Golden Freddy mask drops at a different rate than the other ones, doesn't it?
The puppet does.
Oh, it's puppet, that's right. The other that's right, the 5 go, and then puppet lingers because the puppet is lingering, which is why in FNAF 6 they have to be burned away.
Yeah.
You followed all that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Excellent. Woo! FNAF Major, here you go.
I'm in FNAF 301 now.
Yeah, FNAF 301.
Woo!
This is a PhD program.
Oh boy.
Oh, buddy.
Great. Do I have to do a defense then?
Doctorate in FNAFology.
What do you think the theory videos are?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, I guess that is very much reviewed.
Yes. peer-reviewed to the gods.
Was weakened and nearly killed from FNAF 6. In that moment, Cassidy creates Ultimate Custom Night, keeping William alive and torturing him forever. Meanwhile, Charlotte and the other souls create FNAF World to hopefully locate the crying child's body so he can finally rest. Did that make any sense? Golden Freddy is a real...
That's a question for Ash. Did that make any sense?
Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah.
I think Rye has successfully baked themselves a theory. Put it to the apron.
Yes.
Theory has been
Weird
baked.
topic.
Yes.
But I really like the interpretation I'm going with here. And I think there's enough evidence that it's at least plausible. But what do you think? What is
is
your
it solved?
interpretation
We said solved in
of
the
Golden
thumbnail.
Freddy? I'd love to hear it below. In the meantime, if you're done with hearing me talk about old books and you want to hear about new books, last week I made a video about all of the interactive
Dough Risers. Okay, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Have we solved the mystery of Golden Freddy?
Perhaps. Maybe.
It sounds like at least from my perspective, whether it's one spirit or two spirits, I feel like we all have a general understanding of where Golden Freddy sits. And that it is definitely Cassidy, who is the vengeful spirit, and that they are attached in some way. We've solved some of the mechanics of how they get attached to William. I think that's cool. As far as Crying Child, I think that there's a couple ways to interpret it.
Yep.
Do you go the book route, which is dual spirits in there, and the books are pretty explicit, like there are two spirits in a thing, and there's a lot of reasons why that exists and a lot of evidence to suggest that? Cool. Or they're outside of that, and maybe they just get released independently, and the Crying Child, once they die, just kind of fade off into the distance. Great,
Or he
congratulations.
decided to stick around because that's apparently something you can also do in the books.
You can just hang out too.
Yeah.
So, I think, or were you made into a robot kid. Your
As
spirit
one
goes
does.
away, and
Yeah.
you're made into a robot kid.
Or the spirit's still there in the robot kid. Lots of options.
This is like FNAF 405. Okay.
That's why you got to check the prereqs.
Yeah, prereqs. The syllabus was a little overwhelming.
A little overwhelming.
I
It's
will
true.
say.
I understand.
Yeah.
So, you know what wasn't overwhelming though?
What, Matt? What, Matt?
We both
Tell
blank
me.
stare.
Tell me.
It was. I don't know. I was trying to get ID's fantasy visiting us.
Yeah!
It wasn't a good segue.
It's okay.
I know.
I saw the effort and I felt it,
I took my shot, and I missed again.
but you didn't throw it away.
I didn't waste my shot. No. I took that shot and missed. Unlike Alexander Hamilton's killer. So anyway, here we go. Thank you, ID, for sitting behind the camera.
Thank you for having me on. This was really fun.
Good. I'm
Yay!
glad. Maybe next time we'll do something that isn't FNAF related.
Perhaps.
She laughs because she knows that's not true.
Yeah, of course.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't mind the FNAF.
Great. Awesome.
Okay, that's
Cool.
a
I'm a
relief.
FNAF enjoyer. I am here for a reason.
FNAF enjoyer.
Do you identify as a FNAF enjoyer?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. I identify as a FNAF enjoyer.
Yeah, I'm a FNAF enjoyer as well.
Excellent. Well, assuming that you got to this point of the video, you're probably a FNAF enjoyer as well. To all my fellow FNAF enjoyers, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, remember, this wasn't a live stream, but it was a video for you. See ya!